Hi seniors, so today what you're going to do is start on your Common application. First thing I want you to do is go ahead and put up your college workbook. So you can make sure you write down your login info as soon as you finish creating your login for the Common App. What we went ahead and did, we linked the Common App into this tab. You could also just Google the Common App. You guys are going to have to create an account. So click on where it says create an account. You are a first year student. You're applying as a freshman. I want you to go ahead and take a moment right now, pause this video, and create your account. So as you're filling this out, make sure that you are putting in your home address. Remember your home address. I'm using this as an example. Putting our school address here. So again, you're putting in your own home address, so where you live, not this one. This is the school's. After you do that, go ahead and answer no. You're not based in a European nation. And you are going to college in 2020, so it'll be the very first option. Please make sure that you do leave this selected, as well as this one. Go ahead and check the terms and agreements and create your account. Great, so once here, we're going to go ahead and move through the different parts. This is where you will add the colleges that you are going to be applying to. We'll go over that in a moment later on. I do want you to start working on the Common application. All of these are different sections that you need to fill out. The very first one being the profile. So when you are done filling this part out in its entirely, you'll be able to move on to the next sections. So go ahead and take some time right now to start filling out this first section. When I ask you if you've used any other names, if, for example, my name is Angelina, legally my last name is Sanchez Ponce, I would select yes, because I typically use just Angelina Sanchez just to make sure that they can match my records. Go ahead and select your gender. Click continue. Once that's done, you go ahead and get a little green check mark for each section as you are finishing up. For religious preference, it's not a required question, but you can go ahead and answer however it is that you identify. If you identify with any of these, otherwise you can select none. Armed forces. You guys are not currently in the military or have served in the military, you can go ahead and select that. Whether or not you identify as Latino or Hispanic, you can go ahead and select that as well. And then if you identify with a race of some sort, you can go ahead and select that. Otherwise, you can go ahead and click on where it says, yes, you've completed this to your satisfaction. Geography, you're going to go ahead and select where you were born. If you were born outside of the country, select the country in which you were born in. So if it's in the US, you're going to go ahead and select what state. And if you were born in the US, how many years you've lived in the US, kind of silly. You would just put essentially your age. So if you're 17, 17, or 18, 18 years, whatever applies. If you have never lived outside of the US, you can go ahead and select 0 for this. Otherwise, if you did come to the US as a child, you can put in however many years it was that you lived in your home country. Go ahead and click pause on the video and fill out the geography section for this now. Under languages, go ahead and report however many languages it is that you speak. For example, if you speak English, obviously you can put that. If it's your first language, select that. If it's not, select the appropriate one. So for example, for myself, Spanish was my first language. Therefore, I'm selecting that and all of the above because they apply to me. This will move you on to the citizenship question. If you're a U.S. citizen, here would be if you're a U.S. permanent resident. So if you have a green card of some sort, select that option. Otherwise, you can click on None U.S. It'll ask you to list where it is that you have citizenship. So if I was born in Mexico, I would select answer as follows. Do you have a current visa? So if you have a visa, you can go ahead and report it. It will ask you what visa it is that you currently hold, if any. Otherwise, if you don't, then you can go ahead and answer that appropriately. And if you're not currently in the process of obtaining a visa, you can select I do not intend to apply for a U.S. visa, because none of these will otherwise apply to you. But do make sure you take a look at the list to double check if this applies to you. In terms of the CommonApp fee waiver, do you feel like any circumstance might qualify you for application fee waiver? Go ahead and just select yes. All of you received an SAT or ACT fee waiver, therefore you can select that one. If you receive free or reduced lunch at school, go ahead and select this one, and just read on through to see if any of this applies to you. So for example, if you have like Section 8 housing, you can select this one. If you're an orphan of the state, select this one. And that should be enough. So after you do that, you're going to go ahead and sign for your waiver. Strive is just another kind of like company that just provides resources to scholarships. So if you would like to receive more information about that and get those emailed to you, you can. Otherwise, you could just select no. It's completely up to you. So once you finish with the section, it will go ahead and click, give you a little green check mark, and so essentially you're working through this entire thing. So for household, you can go ahead and select whatever is appropriate. Pause the video at the moment and fill it out accordingly to what is appropriate for your family. So one thing to note, if your parents are married, it will ask you either way, who do you live with, both or one of the parents. You can go ahead and select that. If your parents are divorced or separated, it will ask you the year of divorce. And then you can report with whom it is that you live with. So if you say parent one, if you don't have any step parents that you'd like to report, you can click no. Otherwise, you can click yes. Do you have any children? This will take you to fill out the information for your parent. And here, for example, if you live with your mother, go ahead and select that. And take a moment to fill out all of this. You will need to know your parents' country of birth as well as their occupation. So that's okay if you can only fill out some portion at the moment. It's not going to give you a little green check mark right here at the end, but at least you will be able to fill out whatever you can for parent one, parent two. So take a moment right now, pause and fill out your parent information. So it asks you for your parents' preferred email. If they have one that they use, you can go ahead and put it in. Otherwise, you can leave it blank. Make sure that you put in, it's the school's number, so don't copy that in. Put in their information. If your home address is the same as where you live, you can go ahead and select that. If your parent does not work, so you can go ahead and take a look at the list here and see which one best applies to you. If your parent for some reason does not work, you can go ahead and select where it says homemaker. That is what homemaker is. Educational level, select whatever is appropriate for your parent. And once you finish that section, it'll take you to the page to fill it out for parent two. You can move through these sections, so if you need to like go and jump between one section and the other, that's fine. You just won't get a little green check mark for it. Siblings, please report all the siblings that you have. So for example, your relationship to them, education level. One thing to note, I believe if you do some college, it will ask you for what college it is that they went to. Um, so if they earned a degree, you can report that. If they did not earn a degree, you can leave it as that, but it will ask you to find the college that they attended. So for example, if my sister went to Laney, I'm going to report that. And we'll say when it was that she started. So you might need to ask your siblings or parents for this information because it will also ask you for your parent if they ever went to school. So go ahead and pause and fill in all the information for your siblings. If your sibling is young, they're only two, say, you can go ahead and select some grade, excuse me, none, because they're only 2 years old. Unless they are in elementary school, then you can select some grade / primary school as their highest level. For example, like that. Okay. So again, remember, you can definitely skip through sections. You're only going to get a green check mark once that section is completed. So if there's information that's still missing here, for example, parent 2 information is still missing, then you won't get a green check mark for that. So under education, I would need you guys to find our school. So I believe if you start typing it in, it should come up. So make sure that you select ours, Richmond, not Hayward or Oakland. Oh, there we go. Continue. You are going to notice that it has like a weird address. For some reason, CommonApp doesn't have our updated address on Bissell Avenue, but we will take care of that. There should be no problem with your application in that sense. Date of entry, you're going to go ahead and put when you started school. So for you guys, if you started with this freshman year at LPS, you're going to go ahead and select 2016 as your first, your year, excuse me, and we started in August. Is this a boarding school? No, it is not. Will you graduate from the school? Yes. Expected graduation date, you're going to go ahead and report it as June 2019. None of these apply to you guys unless you know that you're going, no one really graduates early or late. Sort of never. No one really takes any time off. If you're thinking of doing a gap year, then that's one way that you can answer that question. Otherwise, you're going to move on over and put either my name under college counselor. Well, this is weird because I'm filling out with my name. Or Mr. Moran's. So Jesus Moran, depending on who your counselor is. Job title, you're just going to put college counselor. You're going to go ahead and put our email. So either be Mr. Moran's or mine, depending on who you have in the class. In terms of counselor phone, obviously it's not going to let you do that. You're going to put the school number, so 510-235-4522. Extension. For Mr. Moran, it is extension 464. So I'll put it up here, 464 for reference. Or mine, it is 448. So this extension might change from 464 or 448 depending on who you have, whether it's Mr. Moran or myself. Okay, so please make sure that you fill that out accordingly. If you were a transfer student, this is the appropriate place to write down if you came from like Kennedy, John Henry, Richmond High, whatever it may be. You can go ahead and do that. It will ask you the exact same questions to find the school. And in terms of like why you left, you can just simply say you transferred, you were admitted from the wait list or whatever the case may be, and you decided to come to LPS. So go ahead and pause right now. Make sure that your section for current and other secondary high schools is completed. I just went back. I noticed that there was not a green check mark. One thing to notice is there's a question here that asks about the progression. It is mandatory. So if there's no weird change in progression, go ahead and select that to move forward to the next screen.